really love being at church and helping out wherever needed. You know, like if others are having hard times, and just never really expected it to be me. But when it was, my church family was there. In December, I found myself without a job and without a place, but my sister luckily told me that I could stay with them to the end of their lease, which was up on March 31st. And also, I found out during that time that I would be getting custody of my two oldest kids. And I was excited, but I was also overwhelmed because I didn't know if I would even have a place for them. Well, in the meantime, I actually found a job out in St. Ann, and it was actually walking distance away from my sister's house.
I first remember I met Steve in December of 2010, and the month later he came into the Resource Center. Steve did not want to move in with his sister in St. Ann, but I told him that, you know, he needed to be patient because I knew that God would allow him to come back to this area which he called home. On February 7th, I received an email from a family in our church regarding their rental home in Wentzville. They were wondering if they could use their rental home to help somebody. When I heard what they wanted to do, I immediately thought of Steve. So I called Steve and we were talking, and he was sharing with me how he was going to be getting his children. And then I just knew that it was God's handiwork. It's what we'd been praying for.
Well, as long as I've known Casey, she's always been the same. She always helps. She's always there to talk to, you know, like a mom. So I guess in a sense, that's the reason why I call her mom. Well, being that I already talked to mom all the time anyway, she knew everything that was going on. So she told me that there was a house in Wentzville that I would be able to live in, but it wasn't ready just yet. So I think it was actually, it was March 30th, and that was the day before my sister's lease ended.
Since Steve had to move somewhere at the end of March, this was perfect timing. This new house was walking distance to Steve's job, and it was such a blessing, but Steve had very little furniture. So I reached out to the Resource Center team and Morningstar staff to see if we could come up with some items to help fill Steve's house.
Furnishing Hope was gathering and sending furniture out, and I had been asked to help, which I did.
We moved Steve on Friday, March the 30th, and the next day Steve was able to help with the Furnishing Hope drive. And at the same time, he was able to be blessed with items for furnishing actually almost his entire home.
And by the end of the day, I actually ended up with the furniture that I needed for my home as well.
He received almost everything that he would need, all the way from beds for his children to the lawnmower from Pastor Mike.
It's just awesome. I never expected to face so many obstacles at the same time. You know, God's timing is just as perfect as His plan, and I'm happy and I'm thankful for Him.
I think the family that donated the house said it very well when they told me, "We prayed many, many times about this and kept hearing God telling us to move in this direction. It's funny, some people might think this house is a blessing to the people living in it, but we feel we are the ones receiving the biggest blessing." You know, God is not finished working in Steve's life, and I'm just so blessed that I'm able to work in a ministry like the Hope Resource Center, where I can just be a small part in connecting his dots.